Welcome to Voices for a Healthy Legacy, where we discuss health and wellness with relatable medical professionals. I am your host, Dr. Andrea, and today's guest is Dr. Cree. Welcome to the show, Dr. Cree.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became passionate about family medicine.
Well, I am Dr. Cree. Like you said, I'm a board certified family medicine physician, and I specialize in helping everyday overwhelmed, overworked individuals learn to live a healthy, happy, whole life. And my journey in family medicine started a very long time ago. As a kid, I thought I always wanted to be a pediatrician. Nobody
Me too.
could, yeah, you did too. Yeah. No one told me. No one could say otherwise that I was going to be that pediatrician.
Right.
Until I did my pediatric rotation.
Tell us about that.
It's the worst thing ever.
Okay.
So you get two patients. You get the mama and the child. And there was two for the price of one. And I really wasn't feeling that, right? So I went to my hometown, which is Marion, a very small town in Alabama, and I did my rural health rotation. And there is when I fell in love with old people.
Yeah.
Literally fell in love. I came out of the room, and they be there with cakes and greens from the garden and jam that they had made. And I was like, I love it here. Can I stay here? So that was when I had to make the hard decision of saying, do I go with thought I wanted to be my whole life, or do I feel and go with what I feel like I was called to do?
Mm-hmm.
So I changed at the very last minute from applying to pediatrics to applying to family medicine, and it was the best thing ever.
With choosing family medicine versus peds, a little bit of sprinkle of children, but do you feel like that made things feel a little more balanced for you by being able to see both?
Well, oddly enough, my practice is really no kids.
Okay.
I go to one extreme to the other, right?
Okay.
So the few kids that I do see, they are usually teenagers. They really kind of aged out or close to aging out of from their pediatrician. So it's interesting that I wanted to only do kids to now doing geriatrics, grandmamas and granddaddies, and it's amazing there. I love it here.
Okay. All right. So we are both family medicine doctors, or some people call us PCPs or primary care doctors.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of started out by having like a traditional outpatient medical practice, and then you transitioned into direct primary care.
Mm-hmm.
So explain to our audience what's the difference between kind of a traditional, what you think about with the outpatient clinic versus direct primary care clinic care that you do now.
Okay. So traditional care, I did that for about 7 years. I've been in practice now almost 11 years, 7, 8 years. And the typical day was I went into the hospital. I saw my patients in the hospital. Then I came to clinic and saw patients all day in the clinic. And I would see upwards between 30 and 40 people a day. So that's when you come in, you bring your $35 copayment, you bring the insurance, and it's really like these 15-minute visits.
Mm-hmm.
So I got married about a month after starting my practice, because I'm in private practice. And I don't recommend it. 0 stars. Don't do that. Anyway, it sounds like a good idea.
Right.
You didn't even try to talk about it.
Right. Right.
That's how your friends do you. Right. Okay.
She was on a mission. She was full speed ahead.
However, it was the right. So I started the practice full speed. I was inpatient and outpatient. And usually, well, back in the day, that was how we did it. You saw some inpatient and you did outpatient on your own patient. And so then I just really hurry up and had a baby as well. I was running through all those things.
Right.
Running through all those things. And then so it was okay to be seeing 35 and 45 people a day. People don't understand when you sign up and get a doctor that your doctor actually has a life as well. They have a family, they have whatever. So in the meantime, I even started seeing people in the nursing home. I loved old people that much, right? And so one night I got ready to go to work, and my baby was like, "Are you going again?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going again." And she was about 3 or 4. And so it was at that moment that I realized that I was doing all the things for all the people and making sure everybody else was well, but how could everyone else be well but my house not be well? So then I started to do the research on direct primary care. I retired from the nursing home. Yes, I was 30 something. They was like, how are you retiring? I'm retiring because I'll be back because I love it that much.
Right.
But she said she had a need and I felt like I needed to be present to answer that need. So I did the research. I went to a conference and it just mirrored the lifestyle that I wanted to live. So it is a subscription based medicine. So just like you have your subscription boxes or whatever we get every single month, like your healthy food boxes.
Right.
You pay a subscription every month. It's $70 a month. But with that, you get direct access to me. So you get a number that you can text me directly. And I feel like that was taking me back to the family medicine that was of the years of old, or the reason that I signed up for primary care was to be the family to the patient, to be in their family. And so everybody thought I was crazy because I was leaving my good Blue Cross. Like, how could you leave your good Blue Cross?
Right.
And I was like, I was a slave to Blue Cross and I'm not a slave to anybody. So I left on the whim of saying, if I'm going to do this, I need to be able to do this and have the balance of being able to be a mom and a wife at the same time and not in the expense of. So it's a subscription based model and they have direct access to us. And they are able to use they can have insurance. I know that's something that people always ask. Should I have my insurance or do you only see people if they don't have insurance? So no, we see insured, underinsured, or no insured.
Gotcha. So having changed and switched to that model, how do you feel like that has changed life for you, knowing what you were doing before and what you're doing now? And how do you feel like that has changed for your patients and what you're able to give of yourself to them?
Okay.
So how has life changed for you now that you've gone over to direct primary care for you, and how has it changed for the patients and how you're able to give care to them?
So I transitioned fully in 2019, which was at the onset of the pandemic. So in addition to doing primary care, I have what's considered a hybrid model. I do still see some Medicare because I love my old people. I couldn't just leave my old people. Right.
Of course.
So I do have that hybrid. So I was able to transition to practice, and we did Mondays and Wednesdays. And then we were not working on Tuesdays and Thursdays during the pandemic. I already was taking Fridays off. So for me personally, I went from seeing 40 people a day to seeing about 10 people a day and being able to spend that time. So now I see between 10, 15 people a day. And I'm not rushed, and I'm not worried about, if I don't see this many, Blue Cross is not going to pay me because they've already paid in advance.
Right.
So I think that the patients enjoy it because it cuts out that middleman. You're not waiting on the nurse to call you back for a refill. You're not waiting on the nurse to give you a work excuse. They can text me directly. My staff has text lines as well, so they can text the staff, say, hey, you forgot to do this, or can you refill this? So for us, it is allowing the patients to come directly to us, and it is okay. But we have boundaries, right? We have to have good boundaries. So I make sure to say, hey, if I don't write you back immediately, that's the one question we get is, do people text you all the time? I'm like, no, they don't, because people aren't used to texting the doctor. Like you're not used to getting texts. So they text me. I get a lot of texts in the daytime. And then if it's at night and I'm at dinner or doing something, I just let them know I'll get back to you when I can. The beauty is I had Zoe while we were in practice. So a lot of these people have grown. Zoe has grown up with them. So they know about it. They're asking about it. They're doing all the things as far as being that family of being in family medicine. So I don't have to be worried about them saying, well, why she not answering the phone? Or why she doing this? They know because we set that boundary.
Let's say, I know you said that it's a membership model. Are there different tiers that you offer? And you don't have to go into a whole lot of detail, but just kind of explain the different tiers and like how people should go about choosing one of those tiers.
So our tiers are based off age. So there's a price for kids. We don't do any vaccinations. So the children, usually if I have any kids, They keep their pediatrician on hand, so they can get their vaccines. And then they see me because I get all these calls like, well, she swallowed a toy. What am I supposed to do? And a lot of parents sign up, not necessarily for the wellness of their kids, but to be able to text and say, oh, they got a fever. What should I do? I can't get in touch with my doctor because it's 6:00 and the phone's rolled at 3. So we have a tier for children. We have a tier for college age that's at a reduced rate. And then if your family comes on, we have a reduced rate for every family member that you join, that you add on to your profile. So that's how we do it. It's not a tiers where you just can do telemedicine, because some places are like that. Because I like to see the person at least a couple of times a year, even if they prefer to do telemedicine. We need to get labs. I need to lay eyes on you. I need to be able to examine you and hug your neck.
Okay. All right. And so it sounds like you have a little something for everybody, can satisfy different budgets, even if, and I know you said that some people can keep their insurance, but for some people, let's say if they have some type of major event, like they lose a job or they can't afford to pay for their insurance, or if they are they're getting ready to start a new job and it takes a while before they're on their insurance is active for that particular job. Is that something that you see or recommend as well? It seems like you're really kind of helping to fill a need and fill in a gap.
Yes. So if that's the case, we do have a 90-day commitment. So you sign up and then you come on board, and after 3 months, they can say, hey, I don't want to do it anymore, but you are on the hook for the first 3 months, because that gives me a little time to follow you, them to get to know us to get to know them. So yes, we it's for that. But Alabama being the heart of Blue Cross, 90% of my patients have insurance. They're signing up for the convenience of being able to get in touch with me when they want to get in touch with me.
Right. So that access is super important.
In this day and age, it is. Yeah. We're a microwave society. We want everything fast. And we want to know do I have strep or COVID real fast,
And we don't want to wait. A lot of us don't want to wait until the next day. I know we've talked about the different tiers and the benefits of having a direct primary care physician. Who do you feel is an ideal client or ideal candidate for direct primary care? Because even though I know it's great and wonderful, just are there some people that you would say maybe they don't need it, or they would want to make sure they have some other things on board? What are your thoughts on that?
I would say if you have Medicare or Medicaid, then direct primary care is not for you. For one, the government makes it such we can't charge the patients cash because they are already covering the needs of that patient.
Okay.
So if you're Medicaid and Medicare, you can't say, well, I don't want to see that doctor. I want to come over here and I'll just pay to see you. We can't do that in that regard. But I think it is for the patient that is a small business owner. We get a lot of small businesses that sign up and say, I want to give my patients my employees a wellness stipend.
Okay.
And so it's cheaper for the employer to give them a wellness stipend to come to our clinic than it is to pay for full out insurance, right? Okay. So we've partnered with labs, so we get discounted labs. We get discounted imaging. So we have a lot of, and we call over to the specialist and say, hey, we got these cash patients. What rate can you give us? So we do a lot of the go ahead and go between and say, we still want you to get your mammograms. Here's where you can find them for $99. Okay. You still need your colonoscopy. You still need all of your screening. So we're not cutting the corners in it. We've just done the work.
Right.
So we say if you don't have any insurance or you have a high deductible, it may be better if you just pay the cash rate. So we kind of meet each patient where they are and based off of their needs. So I think that's the beauty of it. It's not like, oh, every time I come in, I only come twice a year. I got to pay for my full visit every time I come because, hey, I'm never going to meet this $6,000 deductible.
Right.
With the price being so low a month, $70, that's cheaper than a lot of people's cell phones at this point in time, for you to just have the continual access to care. And they're like, well, what if I don't come every month? I'm like, you still text me when you see the commercial on TV and say, is this drug real? I get them kind of questions. Yep, this is a real drug. Right. Yeah, that's a thing. And I'm available to them for that. So it's like, no, you need to pay this because you never know when you're going to need to be seen. You never know when you're going to be sick.
Right. And I tell patients too, Google is fine. It has its place, But there's nothing like being able to talk to your doctor and ask them about your specific case for whatever commercial or remedy that you've heard. Like it's so much value in being able to directly get an answer for you from your particular doctor.
Based off your labs, based off your family history. Because that's why you had a primary care doctor or the family medicine doctor is we know all of the things. We're like the hub. So we're getting all of the different information from everywhere. And we're able to say, yeah, no, that's not for you. Don't bring those supplements in here. That's not, turn that off or whatever. Or turn it on kind of thing. So I think that it's the beauty of it is to say, talk to your doctor, somebody that knows you, see them regularly so that you can get a rapport with them and they can get a rapport with you.
Right. Now that we've talked about your transition over to direct primary care, and you were kind of telling us about, what your thoughts are with the value that's added for patients. Are you still seeing some of the same problems or medical conditions that you were seeing, when you were doing just traditional? And I know there are still patients, but what are some, like the top 3 things that you see that are pretty prevalent, whether you're a direct primary care, traditional, or what have you? What are those top 3 that you're seeing, and why do you feel like they're very prevalent?
So the top 3 I would say that I'm seeing is high blood pressure,
of course,
diabetes, and high cholesterol. So that's the trio for living in the South, for living in the sweet tea state of Alabama.
Yes.
So I think that I see those so prevalently because of the way we're eating, because of our lack of exercise, our lack of thinking about the things that we're eating. We're just on a society that's like the microwave society. We want it fast, we want it quick, and then how dare you tell me to exercise to get my numbers down when I can just take a pill?
Right.
And this pill is not working because I am drinking all this Kool-Aid. You're like, dude, like what is happening? You have to be accountable. So I think that those are the 3 will be prevalent no matter where, because of our diet and because of our lack of accountability. We don't want to be accountable to ourselves, let alone anyone else, especially about food, because we don't eat to live, we live to eat. We celebrate. We're going to be celebrating.
Right.
Can we get together to eat?
Right. Like, you want to go try this new place?
Yeah, can we go try this out? So I think that once we get a better grasp on that, then that will make us healthier, happier, and whole. And then also, as far as high blood pressure, all of that stuff, we got a lot of family history. We got the family history of it. And a lot of people don't want to believe that this is what my brother didn't have it, but my mom and daddy did. Well, your mom and daddy had it. It's in it's in your bloodline as well. So we have a lot of, I think, psychological things and a lot of psychological things that we do to ourselves to say, oh, I don't need that. So then we get there too late. So now you're having to do dialysis. You're having to see the kidney doctor because you didn't go early enough to take the time to take care of yourself. That's why I like the fact of direct primary care. It can be for someone that's young, that's like, oh, I just want to come. I don't have insurance, but I want to get baseline labs.
Right.
I want to get baseline, checkup so that I can have that in case something does go awry later or because I know my family history.
Right. So when you do have some people who come in and say things, which I've heard things like this before. Oh, I'm just bound to have it. I'm just going to live life. I'm not going to do any like prevention, like any of those measures. What are some things that you say to them I know you have a very unique delivery and way of caring for people. So when you have people are like, that's why I have you. Like, you need to fix all my problems. Like, there's nothing, like, why do I need to watch all these things when I have a doctor who's here to, like, fix me? So
then my thoughts are, okay, bring me your advance directive so we can get it signed, because you're going to die early if you do not take the accountability of it. And so I always say I whip on Wednesday. So I'm like, you bring me the switch because we're going to get this whipping because you're not going to make me look bad.
Right.
I'm a 5-star doctor. I got to stay a 5-star doctor, y'all, okay? So when I want to do what I say, don't you want me to be a 5-star doctor? You got me out here looking bad because you just want to do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And we're better than that. So they're like, they don't want, Dr. Cree, we don't want you to look bad because you're not a bad doctor. So usually it's like a lot of that with love and saying, hey, you're coming every 3 months, or stop coming. We have two options. We either gonna come and we're gonna do right. You're gonna listen to me first, and then you're gonna come back with some gains or some strides, or you're not gonna do right, and I'm gonna say we'll see you twice a year, once a year, and then we deal with the repercussions later. But I try and say, if you don't do this, if you don't take this blood pressure medicine, you will be on dialysis. If you don't do this, your man part's not gonna work. Your toes gonna hurt. You're gonna have numbness. So I'm very clear on these are the side effects. This is why I'm telling you to do these things. I'm gonna tell you everything may not be a pill. I'm gonna give you the prescription for it, but if you choose not to do it, then that's on you. Right. But also, I can't wear the badge of doing it all for you. This has to be a team. I try and give you the plan and say, hey, what you think about this plan? If it's a plan you're gonna try and follow, you ain't gonna follow this plan. Don't waste my time. Don't waste your time. Don't waste my time. So it's like that kind of thing. So if you're not going to do it, let's follow up in a month. Let's see where we are. And then if they're not going to do it, usually those people kind of fizzle out. And you hear from them later on like, oh my goodness, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. But it's our job to prevent the shoulda, woulda, coulda.
There is one piece of advice that you could leave with our audience about building a healthy legacy. What would you tell them?
The one piece of advice that I would give is to know your family history. It's so important to know your history so that we'll know when to start screening. So if mama had cancer, we need to know what kind of cancer she had, what stage cancer she had, did it spread? We need to know all those things so that we'll know when we should start screening you for cancer. Right. That may be earlier and how early. So we need to know that. You may need your mammograms earlier. You may need your colonoscopies earlier, but we need to know that. And I would suggest to not just have it written down somewhere, but have it on a hard drive, have it on a Dropbox, email it to your children for even years to come, because that legacy is something that once it's gone and it's gone to the grave, there's no way of getting it back.
Right. Well, thank you so much for giving us such valuable information today so that people are informed about direct primary care. So if anyone wants to reach out to you for more information or to schedule a consultation or an appointment with you, how would they go about doing that?
Well, you can go online to www.brownstonehealthcare.com, and you can click in the upper right hand corner, enroll now. There is a $99 enrollment fee, and it's $70 a month for individuals. And you can follow me on social media at Dr. Cree. That's DoctorKre. And I do a Dr. Cree and Me segment a few times a month when I can remember to be on time to do it. I do it a couple of times a month on my Facebook page. So follow me there. We have lots of information, lots of education. And thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. And we're going to have you on again because we have a part 2 and a part 3 that I kind of want to talk to you about on a different spin. So
I can't
more
wait.
to come. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Voices for a Healthy Legacy. Until next time, we will see you later.